Solarah here with a quick blackout message. I don't think this is going to be very long, but you never know with me. Anyway, I'm going to get straight into the message. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're looking after yourself. I hope you are understanding and overstanding that you are the salt of this earth, that you are the value, that you are its precious resources. The minerals are, the animals are, the trees are, the plants are, all the beauty of the earth. It lives also within you internally, and you were sold a lie that you ever had to, sacrifice yourself to get back something less than your worth. And I hope that you're rising more into that truth, and you are treating yourself with the value and the true worth and preciousness, that you embody as a soul materialized in human form right now. So there's a lot going on. I'm recording this on Wednesday, October the 8th in the afternoon. The video I'm getting ready to release, or has already gone up, will be the one right before this. Was done last night on Tuesday, October the 8th. Sorry, it's Wednesday, October the 9th right now. I recorded the other one last night on Tuesday, October the 8th. And since then, we've had another X-class solar flare, bringing the count up to 5 since the beginning of the month. So we've had about 3 in about a 24 to 36 hour window also. So things are lighting up, things are heating up. And as that occurs, there's going to be a lot of things coming up in the pain body, in the emotional field, in the emotional body, and a lot of things coming up in your external reality to show you where you still have pain, where you still are holding on to fear, where you're still holding on to anxiety, shame, guilt, all of these lower density energies that are there to guide us, but the false matrix used to trap us into lower experiences. So if I were doing an actual video right now, I would pull out my trusty vibrational scale, because it would show you the lower emotional vibrations on the chart that constrict your energy field and put you in very dense emotional states, which drag you into lower timelines if you stay in that energy. And the whole purpose of the false matrix was to keep the earth, the whole earth, at a lower dimension and a lower frequency. And the way they did that was by dragging us all down into that through mental programming that then had an effect on our emotional fields and had us stuck in trauma loops. So our emotional bodies were constantly being damaged. And when your emotional body is constantly being damaged, this is what introduces death. This is what introduces sickness, disease, dysfunction. It's through the damage, the continual damage of the emotional fields, because the emotional fields are connected to the element of water. And water is the true currency and what truly connects and separates all realms and realities. And water, everything is birthed through water. So if you can fuck up someone's emotional body, if you can fuck up the water element that makes us up, then you can taint our timelines. So they needed to do this in the false matrix specifically to feed their grids, these lower emotions. Their grids thrived off of fear, off of guilt, off of shame, off of anger, off of war, in imbalanced expressions. So they needed you constantly expressing that through your vessel, channeling that through your vessel, living and creating timelines. And to that extent, even the beings who you thought were living, well, a lot of the time emotionally they were a wreck. Hence the reason why many of them made really fucked up decisions in order to appear to be a certain way, to everyone else, appear to be rich, appear to be famous, appear to be all these things, when internally their soul is dwindling. So I'm saying all of this because the X-class solar flares, we've been being warmed up to get to this point where we're going to continually be pelted with this solar energy, because it's time for everything that has blocked you from being a multidimensional infinite being here on the earth planes in real time. It's time for the programs, the emotional wounds, everything, every single thing that has blocked you. It's time for it to come down. And so with these solar flares, it's really going to have an effect on the pain body, on the emotional body, because it's time to clear the waters so you're able to birth in accordance with who you actually are, as opposed to all the pain stories you've been forced to hold on to while you were living against yourself because of the false doctrines of the old world. So I'm saying this because the more you're crumbling and collapsing these densities, the more you're going to be coming into tower moments. And these tower moments might seem big to you because of everything you've been through, the trauma you've already been through. They might seem big to you. But please understand and overstand that the bigness of them oftentimes, and how you're feeling it right now, will be magnified, because it's time for you to get a hold over that pain story. It's time for you to grab it by the balls and to take authority over it and say, you are not my story anymore. You are not my timeline. I am not here to suffer. I am not here to live an anxious existence. I am not here to fear, how I'm going to live. I'm not here for any of that. Those are all false matrix timelines, and I reject them. Because everything right now is at times going to feel like it wants to close in on you like a boogeyman. But please know that is the illusion that you must take the life out of. It's like a big ass fucking Pillsbury Doughboy balloon, right? And it's coming at you, and it seems real because it might be so familiar, and it's all that you've lived through time and time again. And so now you've got to take your sword of truth. You've got to take that pin, and you've got to take the air out of that lie, because what's happening right now is the fear templates that kept you from rising, those ceilings that you could never get past emotionally to get into your higher timelines. It's time for you to bust through. But the only way into the higher timeline is to bust through the ceiling that kept you from getting there to begin with. And that ceiling will always be made up of the lies and the lies that you've believed about your own finite truth and ability, which doesn't match with your infinite and multidimensional truth. Okay, so it will always be the things that want to limit you into thinking you can't do something, you can't be something, you can't have something, when your own soul is like pushing past that energy and saying, fuck that, that's not true. And your own soul is asking you to help it to get free right now, to live the fullness of its expression, but it needs your help by tearing down the lies mentally. And even when you feel the emotions, the very real emotions, the very familiar emotions come back up in your pain body, in your emotional experiences, because you've been through all of this before, understanding and overstanding that energy actually, it doesn't have to stay anymore. You can give it its walking papers, and it's hard. I've shared with you before. I am a survivor of narcissistic family abuse, spiritual abuse. I was in a violent marriage. And as such, I battle with CPTSD, complex PTSD. I know what it feels like when something returns into your reality that feels so connected to the horrors of the past. And I know how it can seem so much bigger. It can be like a big ass boogeyman or a big ass monster, when really you're like a slayer anyway. You've slayed these energies before, but the minute they come back, it can put you into a state of fear. And that's the point of what these energies want you to do, so that you stay under the ceiling that keeps you from getting into the timeline that actually belongs to you. And so right now, all of those ceilings are being shown for what they are. They're being shown for what they are every time you try to push into a higher timeline and something occurs to cause you to fear and believe that you can't have it. That in and of itself is the ceiling that kept you out, that must expose itself because it's time for you to collapse it. I hope I'm making sense. If this is your message today, you'll get it. And I really need you to get it, because I don't want you sitting in a state of anxiety, because these X-class solar flares, when you are clearing out the seed energies of your trauma, of your pain body, it can bring up a lot of that energy, right? And I spoke in yesterday's video about the projections, because you're also getting it from other people who you've had a strong emotional interconnection with, and it's time for people to get right. And some people know they've done you wrong, but they still won't open their mouths and say anything or admit it. And that's okay, because that's their own issue with their own souls that they have to sit down and wrestle with. And many of them are wrestling with it. Don't get it twisted, And so you will be feeling their anxiety as they brood over you. Okay, but then you also, on top of that, have the anxieties or the fears that might be coming up for you if this is your message, because you're getting to the bottom of a loop, you're getting to the bottom of a story, or you're getting to the top of a loop and you're getting to the bottom of the story that's kept the loop there. So I want you to be very conscious of how you're dealing with these emotional energies when they enter your fields and they want to limit you or pull you into believing that you can't break the loop. I want you to, at that time, measure the thoughts and the feelings that you're having against who you are, not against who you were or who you were programmed into being. I want you to measure those very thoughts and those emotions against who you are as an infinite, multi-dimensional being. And when you actually sit down and you do that, you'll begin to see that every single barrier that wants to keep you stuck in an old emotional story or a feeling that feeds that story is a fucking lie. Because there's nothing that you as an infinite multidimensional being, there's nothing that you can't collapse. There's nothing you can't overcome. Those are all the lies and the boogeymen of the matrix that want you being afraid of powers that are so much smaller than you that they have to use all manner of tactics to intimidate you, because they actually don't have real power. Because nobody and nothing with real power has to hide behind fakery and fuckery. Only beings that want to cast illusions of power and put you in fear states have to hide behind that kind of mess and that kind of behavior and those kinds of antics. So understand and overstand that the matrix as a program right now is collapsing. That's what the 1010 portal is about too, not for nothing. 1010, that's binary. The algorithm that supported the false matrix is collapsing even more through this 1010 portal. Okay, so the programs that supported this false matrix, they're collapsing. And as they collapse, you're colliding with them too. So you're colliding with these energies. This is another grand timeline collapse, but it's bigger than just timeline collapse. This is the whole structure of the false matrix coming down. Okay, so I want you to be encouraged today, because I come on here and I speak the words to your soul that were spoken into my soul first, because I needed them, and so if I needed them today, I know that this message is for more people. It's not just for me. So I hope that this helps you. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you gratitude for who you are, for who you actually fucking are. not who you've had to pretend to be, not who you've been used as a vessel to manifest the realities of and through for other entities. No, who you are in the purity of the truth of your soul. I'm so grateful for you today, and I want you to be so grateful for yourself too. I will be back again. Excuse my throat. I'm getting activations there too. I will be back again as I'm led with another message. I'm sending you love. For all information on how to work with me, how to donate to the channel, how to join me on Substack, all that information is in the description box below. I love you guys. I'll see you again soon.